So, seen any good moves lately? Welcome back to episode number 4 of the Survivor 49 coverage. And I am Joey Oberding. I'm your host. And today I am joined by the nefarious, the awe-inspiring, the heroic Noah. How are you doing, Noah?
Doing good. Pleasure to be here as always.
Yeah. I'm really glad to have you back on the show. Last time you were on the show, we were talking about Big Brother, and we were both just kind of like shrugging the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that here we'll be able to really talk about it because you're as big of a Survivor fan as I am.
Yeah.
And we know the intricacies of this game like the back of our hands. But I did want to ask you, of course, before we really dive into what happened in this past episode, I just want to know what your thoughts have been on the season so far.
Yeah, I have mixed opinions on the season as a whole, I would say. I'm not going to give away too much now before we go into individual players because I think what my kind of reasoning behind it is in the broader sense, some of the players and the context behind everything. What I can say is like from a gameplay perspective, I think it's been very non-inspiring.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
There's only been like one boot where I've like been like, oh, like maybe there's somebody else goes home. Like they've been pretty choreographed, at least to me.
I would agree with that.
Go home. And the 3-try format needs to go away. It has its time and place. We've done it too many times in a row.
I do think a big problem of this season so far has just been, even beyond the fact that one tribe has lost the whole time, which like that happens, there could be entertaining television made out of one tribe losing all over and over again. See a lot of new era seasons. But I think the problem here is just like, not only were the votes not interesting, but then they just got hurt on top of that with Jake going home, which was a crazy episode. And it was a good episode. But in terms of like entertaining for the sake of like the next boot out that happened in the same episode, it was much more of like this is sad that this is happening instead of, ooh, is somebody going to pull a fast one than somebody else?
I think that episode is more entertaining if you're a Survivor nerd. The last one.
Yeah.
Episode 3, not 4.
Yeah.
Because like as like a big fan, it's interesting to see, base camp and like get some of those behind the scenes because we don't get Ponderosa anymore.
Yeah.
So it's nice seeing some of that stuff, but like a pretty predictable boot. I never we'll get into individual players. Like Alex is one of the people I'm rooting for. Like I have a vetted interest. Like that's one of like, when you have your guys,
sure.
That's like one of my guys. And like knowing his like occupation, his archetype, his whatever, I knew he was going to play the idol.
Yeah.
Like mathematically, this is like, you don't have a better time to play an idol.
No, you don't.
And sure, it'll go down as an incorrectly played idol. I get that. But you go and be on Survivor with 3 people on your tribe and tell me you're not going to play an idol.
Yeah, seriously. Like my perspective is always like, at least with New Era, with how the tribe dynamics shake out, it's like if you have an idol, you want to use it by the time you get to the merge. Because as soon as people know you have an idol, like Alex's idol really is pretty public. I mean, I guess technically it was public between Alex and one other person being Sophie, but like...
if you tell one person, everybody knows.
Exactly. So... I think, Alex is right to use it despite it being incorrect. And I think it made Sophie trust him more because that's what he said he was going to do. I think that works too. So, yeah, I thought that was correct. From my perspective, like the game so far has been sort of whatever leading into this episode. Like the Jake medevac was very interesting, but it wasn't interesting necessarily from a gameplay perspective. More from a survival aspect, which is something we don't get much on Survivor anymore.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little twist, I almost, in terms of like what the show chose to focus on. But I mean, to me, the only interesting thing happening, like gameplay wise, has been Uli, and they didn't have to go to tribal council ever. So it was just interesting people on the tribe, basically.
No, I completely agree. I know, like I said, we'll keep getting into these players and everything, but it's been whatever. The question I would pose to you
sure
is, I mean, like a lot of these new era seasons will be remembered for the one big moment in the season or the one player, right? Like last season will be remembered as the Joe and Eva season.
Sure.
And I'm curious to see what this one will be known for.
Yeah.
And I say that on the fact of like, well, like when I look back in 4 years from now, what am I going to remember about this season? And there's a non-zero chance it's going to be, I'll remember, oh, that was the Jake got bit by a snake. Jake Medevac. Like, and I pose that question because a lot of my least favorite seasons from the new era, there's nothing inherently that interesting. Like, okay, like most people, I'm not a fan of 41 and 42.
Sure.
42 I like immensely more than 41.
Sure.
I guess I'm going through my new era seasons now, just my ideas before we get into it. But like, I had 43. I adore 43, and I
really,
and I did before my connection to actually that season. But like my rooting interest was Jesse, and I thought it was very compelling television to watch. 44, like respectfully, I like the people on 44. I do not remember basically anything from that season except Jam Jam and all of them just kind of dominating and cakewalking their way to 3. Like, I don't remember anything from that. 45, I remember at the time, I believe that's when we got the 1.5-hour episodes.
Yeah, we did. Yes.
And I remember it 45. I distinctly remember 45. I was more into watching the podcast, like into it. Cause I thought that season was pretty interesting from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Definitely probably the most nuanced gameplay season of the new era.
Like I know the Re before kind of just got their way there, but like it was a compelling way to get there. And like quite a few of the votes, it's like, sure, they probably stay together, but like there's at least more intrigue going on. And I thought the camp life was better in that. 46, honestly, middle of the road new era season, like it's fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. At the time, I really liked it, but with time, I'm a little more mixed on it.
The only thing that keeps me kind of attached to it is like I really believe if I were to play the show, my closest comp would be Charlie. As much as I don't want to say that, like that's like I really like deep down believe that's what my comp would be, or that's who I play closest to. So I respect it for that. 47 was great. Who doesn't like 47? I mean, I like 43, but I think 47 is just objectively the best season.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I do think it's interesting you talking about like what seasons you like and don't like. When you brought up, the idea of like, will the shark or will the snake bite be what this season is most remembered for? Because it made me think going through those seasons of like, okay, what is the most remembered thing about the season? And I'm going through my mind and I'm like, well, it seems like the later something happens, the better of a season it is. So like 41, the most well-known thing is like the hourglass twist and how controversial that is versus 42, where in my opinion, the best remembered thing is probably like Marianne pulling out the idol at Final Tribal Council. Or at least that's what I associate with the season. With 43, I mean, you can make a case for a few different things. I would probably say the Jesse losing fire making is like the thing I remember the most. 44, I have no idea. And part of that is because I don't particularly care for 44. I don't like it, but like my mind went to like the Bruce Medevac, and that was episode 1.
I can't even like, and maybe it's just like I think it's certain people click for certain people.
Yeah,
but the 3 of Carolyn, Jam Jam, and Carson don't do it for me. I think, and I guess this is maybe a little hot take, I think Carson's stick is not entertaining on the season to watch, at least for me. It was not. I know he was adored at the time by quite a few people, like in Survivor Reddit. I never saw it. Like he made me roll my eyes all the time.
Yeah. Well, you're preaching to the choir, my friend, because Carson, I was against Carson from the moment he did like NASA merch before the season and like put his face on pillows. I was like, I don't know what's up with this guy, but I don't like it. And so the entire season I was against him, but I like Carolyn and I like Jam Jam. And then what's interesting is, my opinion on Carson and some other people on that season, like made me really dislike the season a lot more, but I still like those two. And then I saw Carolyn on the Traders, and it's interesting because at first I was like, yeah, Carolyn, I like Carolyn. But then it just like, I saw the same thing happening in the Traders that happened in Survivor 44. And it soured me just a little bit on her. Like,
And it's like I know exactly what you're talking about because it's one of those where like I will always. I don't think you're the same way. I will always appreciate her on my television.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
There are just some things like there are some shows where her kookiness will play better than others. And I found it more compelling on Survivor for me to watch than Traders. I think she was still good on Traders. And she was because like there was not a lot of people who are gonna bring that and like kind of fun.
I will say this: nothing made me realize why Carolyn lost Survivor 44 more than the Traders.
That's
the Traders really solidified. Like, I don't mean to dogpile on Carolyn because I do enjoy her on television, but like I at first was like, man, why are they being so rude to Carolyn in the turret? And then the more time went on, I was like, oh, because she's actually always like this. Like she's almost like it's a boy who cried wolf situation of like victimizing herself, and it's like that's sort of like me reading into that's like
I feel like I think everybody loves her in the vacuum on TV, but I also try to put myself in the shoes, and I was like, I can still say I love her and also say she'd be exhausting.
Yeah, it's like if I'm Boston Rob or somebody, I would rather work with the Daniel Reyes than a Carolyn. Like, regardless of whether neither of them are coming after me.
Yeah.
Like, Anyways, that's the Traders discussion we're having. Like,
I have a segue for you.
Sure.
To get to the season, and it's because you have one of my most underrated seasons on in the background.
Yes.
Behind you. I adore that season way more than almost everybody else in Survivor does.
Survivor Fiji. And I was curious if you picked up on this at all, but when they went to the two tribes, I was just getting shades of Fiji. Me too. Yes.
And it was one of those where it's like, I know Jeff was not going to say the have or have nots, but he was really trying to play that up. And it was like, we've seen this shtick before. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and for good reason.
Sure.
It's only compelling if the losers overcome. If they don't overcome, it's just boring.
Yeah.
But it was fun because the losers overcame today and they got stuff. But I was getting big shades of Survivor Fiji from this last episode strictly because of that.
That is actually so funny because my family group chat brought up the same thing, that it's like, yeah, you go to the camp that has the hammocks and the coconuts everywhere and whatever else. The toilet. Jesus. In Hina, or you go to the camp that has, the shelter is a tree basically, and we have no food whatsoever, and we have a worm farm to eat. And it's like, yeah, I made a joke to my group chat that it's like, yeah, somewhere Rocky is screaming that he lost another immunity challenge.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like I think the have not twist is maybe not a good twist, but I think it was a respectful swing and a miss.
There are so many twists that I feel that way with.
Yeah.
That I think I like him in a vacuum. They just did not work this time.
That's how I feel like have-nots is like the same with like Medallion of Power. Like those have the same like thing where it's like this could have been cool. Maybe if it was tweaked like a little bit, or maybe it was just never going to work. But I appreciate that they tried it. I
still think it is a tragedy that we have not gotten a Survivor One World 2 as a concept, because I think it is such a compelling and interesting concept. And I don't think Survivor will ever reconsider it because the broader fan base hates that season. But I will say they hate the one bright spot people have is that like change in the beginning. Like,
sure,
that's what, like, besides Kim, like that's one of the bright spots is they tried something new. And let's go to I was gonna say, you finish this thought. Let's go to the season first because I could go on a tangent and never get.
No, we're here now. I have to talk about One World too because we're here. One World is so interesting because like there's a difference between good Survivor seasons and good like psychological like television. Like Survivor Borneo is a pretty good season of Survivor, even though it's a completely different thing. But it's a great psychological experiment. South Pacific, if you ask me, is both a great Survivor season.
That's what I was going to say.
and a great psychological experiment. One World, meanwhile, is a terrible Survivor season, but a great psychological experiment because just starting off in episode 1, you immediately have this divide that's there the entire season. And it's like the people who go in between, aka Christina, who seems like such a nice person, is immediately like cut off from both sides and like everybody dislikes her. And she stays all the way until final 5, I think, still with nobody liking her, all because of her not even like saying I want to work with you to the guys, but like negotiating, like using supplies or something like that, or trying to help each other build a shelter or something. And it's crazy, and because that also creates the bullying dynamic, which is bad with Colton and Alicia. But I mean, that's interesting. Some of the worst Survivor seasons are some of the most interesting philosophically, because you see the worst of humanity. Another being Survivor Thailand, another good example of that. I would not recommend those as Survivor seasons, but if you want to see like bad human psychology, they're pretty good for that. So there you go.
With that, can you pull up this graphic of the players? Because
yes, of course.
I want to use this as a segue. I want to start with the Kelly tribe.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to start with Shannon. I think you can obviously see where this connection is going to come in.
I do. So we had a tribe swap, and the Uli tribe is no more after last episode, and we are now split into 2 tribes of 7, one of which being the Kelly tribe with Shannon on it. Take it away, Noah.
Yeah, the reason, I mean, this is an obvious tie-in because it feels to me like Survivor is trying to paint her as the Coach South Pacific cult leader archetype, which like is really rare for the show. Like they don't usually go, like I can't think of one since Coach got that kind of edit. And it seems, and they're going that route, which I find fun. The thing that I worry, okay, besides the tribe breakdown of it being unfortunate for her, in order to become the cult leader, you kind of need a little bit of kooky. Like that's what made Coach so effective.
Yeah.
As that role is like and it also helps that he played a few times, so people naturally are going to gravitate towards him.
Yeah.
It feels like they're trying to give her that role, but like she doesn't have the social capital to necessarily pull it off, in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. I will say I adore Shannon. I think she's probably
I like her.
She might be my favorite on the season so far, just from pure like I don't know. I enjoy Coach South Pacific. I like seeing the reincarnation, I guess is what I'm saying. But no, I really enjoy Shannon. I think you're right. And I was thinking about this during the episode. I think part of it is you think about Survivor South Pacific, where Coach forms this sort of cult. In it, you have like 5 people, and Coach is the heart of it. He's the one who makes it happen. But at the end of the day, he's not the heart of it. The heart of it is Brandon, who is so like, who believes it so genuinely and is such like, at that time, such a genuine like person in his emotions, and is so raw and is saying like, you can vote me out of this game if you're not going to be loyal to our alliance, like at tribal council and stuff like that. And meanwhile, you have Rick, who might have been into it, I don't know, and then Albert, who I think was like about 50-50, and then Sophie, who wasn't into it at all, but she was going along with it. And I mean, I think there's a reason why you look at the Uli tribe before this episode, and it's like Savannah's like, yeah, no, I don't buy it, but like I'm going along with it.
Yeah,
she's trying to play the Sophie role.
Yes.
The problem with Shannon's sort of cult thing is that nobody's really playing the Brandon role.
No.
So like there's no state, like getting rid of Shannon isn't going to have any lasting effects beyond that was a person I was working with in the game. There's not something more personal to cutting the head off that snake, if that makes sense.
That's the thing. If you want, if it's going to work as well as it did for Coach, you need the Brandon for it to work. Mm-hmm. And I know if I was there, I would be rolling my eyes with, the meditation on the beat. Like,
sure.
Like I want to give credit to my mom on picking up on this, that I didn't pick up on this originally, which is interesting, is that in the beginning of when she does everything and talks about everything, right? It's very much in the sense of like a yogi, Like, let's ground ourselves. Let's connect to earth.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do that. But this last episode, it pivoted into more of like a Christianity role.
Yes, it did.
Which was very like interesting. Of like, it's like, she's trying to find her little ends of like what is going to be most effective, which I love.
I love
like
that too.
she's testing the waters of what's really going to like connect to people, because I can assure you she would gladly people love, I know, like Facebook casuals, it's so icky. She would I love it, honestly, because if you're playing the game, play it to win.
Mm-hmm.
And she's playing it to win. And I find it very interesting that she is going to do by all means necessary on that tribe. And that I don't, going to the rest of her tribe, I don't necessarily know who that would possibly work. Like,
I don't know.
Like who would work on? Like, I think her best, if she can make it to the merge, like if they don't lose next week, which I guess they're not. I thought for sure they were going to go to merge at 13. A pleasant surprise, might I add.
Yeah. That
they're not. But yeah, I think she's surprised that they get to 12. Things get interesting.
I like I do like the fact that Shannon kind of switched her game up. Sage even talked about it during the game. It's like she was not talking about God this much on our original beach, but I think like to put it simply, like the cult code switching, I think is smart, because she's with a different group of people. I think I think Shannon is certainly smart enough, as everybody keeps saying, to know like what is working and what's not. And I think she was able to pick up that, like, I think she threw out some like religious stuff in like the first few episodes, and people were like, all right, that's cool. And then when she does the same thing on the new what tribe is she on? The new Kelly tribe. I think people were like way more receptive to the God part of it, especially like Christina and maybe MC, like, or at least they were saying they were. And once you got that in, you can say that, man, Shannon's like in a rough spot, but if Kelly goes to tribal council, Sage is going home first of the two of them.
So do we want to just quickly run down our in 2 seconds on each person, like, so we at least say something on each, like, I don't know. I remember on Big Brother we did that, like, and I just want to like at least touch on everybody quickly before I go on another tangent. I'm sure.
No. Yeah, we'll do that for sure.
Just rapid fire. Just rapid fire.
Tell me what you think about Alex, because I know that he's one of your guys, right?
Yeah, Alex is one of my guys. I connect with Alex a lot just because he is the closest thing I've ever seen to my job.
Yeah.
On Survivor. So I have a natural connection just to him through that. I also think I see a lot of where his job is in political comms. He fits that to a T. And
you can tell. Yeah.
You can tell because and I've been saying that, like, there's two different archetypes that work there that can work in politics really well. And I know he's more on the comm side of things, but I think comms actually probably might help him even more, because like they're the ones putting the information out.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like he needs to be really effective of choosing the right words to say.
Gotcha.
To people.
Yeah. So I do think he's good at that. I think
he's really good at that. And I would say, I mean, honestly, like, I know he doesn't have numbers, but he's arguably in a spot where I would want to be. There's two people who is, and we see this every season when you get down to 2 or 3. Nobody's going to be going for Alex the next 4 episodes.
For sure.
He'll be a free agent. And I think he's somebody that has a very high floor.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's kind of got all the tools to like do well in Survivor.
Yeah, like it's like whatever her name was from the one who made the final 3 in Big Brother, the one that we said's too obvious.
Morgan. Yeah.
It reminds me of that, where it's like, if you like I remember like at the beginning of the season, like, pick somebody who you think is going to like do well and make it to merge. I would have said Alex.
Sure.
Like,
I think that'd be valid.
Like, because he has the skill. Like, you have to interact with so many different people that I know he'll be fine. So that's my thing on him. I think he's been playing pretty good. He did what I think was the correct decision with the idol. I think he'll ingrain himself really well. He seems to be naturally likable. Like he seems like somebody you want to get a beer with.
Yeah.
And I think pretty sure he used that on Big Brother too. Like he seems like somebody, that'd be a great hangout. Mm-hmm. So I'm a fan of Alex.
No, that's a powerful thing. And Alex also has like a few things beyond just his good social game going for him. It's like at this point too, maybe this will be a downside in the long run, but at least come the merge, it's good because he doesn't have the numbers, but also he might be the most physically fit guy left in the game.
Yeah.
It's either him or Juwan probably, but now that Jake is gone, for better or for worse, it's like Alex is a pretty muscular dude who, is he's not great at puzzles, but
he fits
strong.
I think he fits the good line of like he's athletic, but he's not he's not going to be overbearing like Jake with like, oh, we got to get this guy out.
I agree with that. I think that's a really good trait that Alex has, and plus being lower on the numbers, like he's not going to be part of the ensuing Uli Hina war that's going to break out over the next few episodes. So him and Sophie both are probably in pretty good position going on further down into the merge.
Yep.
All right. Next up, let's talk about Christina. What do you think about Christina?
I mean, a lot of this yellow tribe, like we don't know a ton about them.
Yeah.
Christina's been fine. I'm also tying MC. Like I like MC a little bit more, but they both kind of just like we haven't seen a lot of them. Mm-hmm. They've kind of just been there. So like I don't have a ton to say about them now, but I'm expecting to see more from them in the next kind of coming episodes of weeks. So more to come from them. I don't have a reason to like them or dislike them. They're kind of just, for better or for worse, they're there.
Yeah.
At the moment.
No, I totally agree with that. I'm going to call it now. This is not a guarantee anymore now that Jake's gone and it's kind of messed up the game a little. But in the event that there is a swap tribe, as there often is, there's a trend that's been going on for like 4 seasons where every person who's been voted out at these split tribes has been black. So I'm calling it now. Survivor 49, if it happens, is going to stay in line with that trend, and Christina and Juwan are going to go home in that split tribal council. That is me calling it now if it happens. Because I feel like Christina, even though we know so little about the Hina tribe, I know what I've seen. And I've seen that Christina is the one sitting out of all these challenges.
Yeah.
And I think that that means something at the end of the day. I think that means that if Hina, now that Matt's gone, I don't know if they will, but in the event that they're like, we'll cut off one of our own at Mergatory or at, early tribal to cut off who we don't think is essential. Like, I think Christine is that person in the event of self-preservation for yourself. Like
that's actually a really honestly, Christina feels like the person that's kind of like a Mergatory boot.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we've seen we've seen more content from MC that makes me feel like she has legs to survive, to last a little bit. Mm-hmm. Whereas we haven't seen as much of Christina, and from what we've seen, we got a sob story.
Yeah.
And we've got some of this stuff where it's it doesn't it feels like they're trying to get this in to get it in now while they can.
Yeah. I feel like that does happen sometimes, but they're doing it a few episodes in advance. So it doesn't feel like, we're giving all the content.
I do have a 30-second tangent on this, but this is relevant to Christina. In the nicest way possible, I could care less about all the sob stories. And I say that, and I say that in the sense of that, I'm human too, but when everybody has a story, none of them are inherently special. At least to me. If everybody is an outcast and everybody had a tragedy, then nobody did, because they're all on equal play. And I think this might be just a personal gripe for me.
Sure.
Where it's and of course, I can't relate to that feeling, right? That Christina went through.
Yeah.
But it's I see them every season. Survivor's going to play to that. Mm-hmm. And it's not, and like I said, I'm not even trying to single out Christina. This is just my gripe with all of them. With showing the backgrounds, it's inherently a problem. Because they want to say, how can we most relate you to them? let's show you something sad. Like, just hear me out here.
Sure.
Just for once, I would love for, like, the last time I really remember this was David versus Goliath. I would love for somebody to say, I got everything. This is just like, I want some variety.
Yeah. I definitely think that what you say about like,
I think it's a me thing.
Yeah, no, I think you're right though, in the sense of like, if everybody has a sob story, then nobody does. I think about a lot of like last season, 48, where at the end of the season, you know, the final three was Kyle, Joe, and Eva. And a big part of each of their pitches was their quote unquote sob story. Was Kyle, I believe he was like living on the streets or something like that.
He was in jail. He went to jail.
He was in jail. Yeah. Joe, of course, with his sister, you know, dying to domestic violence, and Eva, who, you know, has been very open about her autism the entire season. And it's like, I'm not saying that it was a battle of who has the most relatable to story or the saddest story, but also that was part of all of their pitches at Final Tribal Council. So I do think that means something in the sense that, like, yeah, like they, when you go on Survivor and you apply for Survivor, you should have already crafted like a narrative for yourself or a greater reason for you being there. Like I've applied. I've tried to craft that narrative for myself, but it's like I don't like talking about myself like, yeah, my life is so tragic, because it's not. Like that.
The problem of the straight white guy archetype on Survivor.
I mean,
but
I'm not saying that, but like I'm saying, like, you know, I could, for instance, my sob story, like when I was a toddler, I fell into a campfire and I burned my hand. I was originally a lefty, but I had this giant scar on my palm. So I had to change to being a righty, and I was scared of fire for a long time, and I still kind of am. And it's like, that would be an interesting thing on Survivor. But also at the same time, if I'm putting out an application tape, I can't be like, my life is so sad. My dream is to be on Survivor, but I can't do that. Like, that's just not, I don't think of myself that way. And it's sometimes like, I know all the emotions and all the stories are genuine and they're like a big reason why they get casted, but it's also kind of weird to me sometimes that, like, yeah, you'll get on Survivor once you have a newborn kid on the way, or once, you know, your mom has died tragically. You know, it's a little odd, but I also understand that's reality TV. So there you go.
All right, who do we got next?
Next up, we have MC. What do we think about MC?
Yeah, I touched on MC a little bit. I like I like MC for the fact of, like, she is in the like athletic fit girl archetype.
Yeah.
But it feels like a new like, it feels like we haven't seen this version in that role, at least to me. So I'm liking what MC's putting down. Like I said, we haven't seen a ton of MC, but I feel like MC has some game to play and will be around for a little bit.
Yeah, I think MC has quite a few perks about her. First of all, I mean, she's probably in the best position on the Unibeach already.
Yeah.
In terms of that, so she's good with her allies. She's got, you know, like, knowledge of advantage. Like, she knows she has power in the game. I also think that, like, she's a personal trainer. Like, she is very physically fit, maybe the most physically fit person on the beach. But it's not like a personal trainer, like, you know, Alicia or someone like that, where it's like, this person is obviously like way more ripped than other people and is so physically intimidating. She, like, you wouldn't really be able to tell. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell she's a personal trainer. And I think that'll suit her, and she can win some immunity challenges down the road. My only concern is probably the same concern I have for every Hina tribe member, which is like, I haven't seen these people yet. MC has not been to a tribal council. I don't know how good her strategic game actually is.
Yeah.
So I just kind of have to rest on my laurels and, like, wait.
Yeah.
To see, you know. Next up is Sage, who had a very interesting episode. Just in terms of, like, you know, she's a bit weird. But what are your thoughts on her?
I was going to say something similar of it feels like a spinoff of the Carolyn, but in a way that seems more relatable and more normal. I think everybody sees a little bit of themselves in Sage.
Yeah, I get that.
In the way of like some of the social interactions, or like her thing this last episode about like, oh, like don't say it's weird, or like things like that, where it's like I think everybody relates to it. She's in a tough spot now just with this shakeup, where like if they go, I don't see a world where it's not her.
Yeah.
Like I guess it's a toss up, but like if you ask me, it's like as of right now, I'm leaning 70-30 that way.
I would think that the exception would be if they see Matt getting taken out and they're like, well, we have to get rid of a power player on the Uli tribe. I think the Hina people would likely be able to figure out, like, yeah, Shannon's probably in a better spot back on the Uli beach than Sage is. But do I think Sage has a path to the end or anything like that? Not at the moment. Right now, I think it's sort of a matter of time, it feels like. Which is interesting because I feel like she doesn't have bad reads. I think she was able to deduce that, Shannon is acting differently on this beach and just trying to do anything to connect to people. And I can respect that Sage is just being herself and seeing what happens. But I mean,
it seems like it's one of those where it's like she, as of right now, she unfortunately got a dice roll of the cast on her season that's not going to mesh with her as well as some of the other people.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way Survivor goes sometimes. Like, a lot of this is unquantifiable luck, and like if it's felt as if she's gotten an unlucky just cast makeup, not even necessarily anything she's done gameplay wise.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, like, yeah, we'll see how it goes for her. I'm kind of leaning that it's just a matter of episodes until she's gone, but I don't think it'll be necessarily anything that's her fault. I think it's just the makeup of the game, how she stacked up with her original tribe, and how she stacked up after the swap.
Yeah,
all randomness in the end. So, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we already talked about Shannon, so I'll skip her for now, and we'll talk about the lesser Sophie in terms of who people are paying attention to, which of course would be Sophie with an E. What do you think about her?
Has she been on the season? I haven't seen her.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing that like I say that like we haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
From her. The only thing we've seen was her little like kind of outburst escapade at the reward.
Yes.
Which the perception, I think that one, I think I noticed it more there because I was like, we don't know anything about her. And this is the content we're getting. And the content comes off as extremely privileged of like, oh, Jeff, come on. Like it's just like, I think there's a lot of like subtle things with her that like I was picking up with what she was saying. And it wasn't even the fact that like she was giving Jeff like a little bit of a gripe of like, where's the carbs? Where's the protein? Sure. It's the fact that she had to go a step farther to call it diet food. Jeff, that's diet food. Like it's below her to even eat it. And I have a sneaking suspicion that if you were to ask who ate the most fruit, somehow she would find her way up there towards the top, even though she was complaining about it.
I do find it interesting how the two events I can remember Sophie being involved in this season so far is her being unhappy about the banana reward and her being really mad that Jawan gave Hina the tribe disadvantage a few episodes ago. And that's all I know about her. Which to some extent, that's not the worst thing in the world because sort of like Christina or somebody else, like if you're not getting any screen time, that means you're probably going to get screen time later. But also there's been so little that it's like, what's the best case scenario for Sophie right now? Being like a Genevieve and like,
No, does not have the charisma, does not have the gameplay sense.
Yeah, it's like, it's not going to happen. So Sophie's really interesting to me in terms of like, what is she going to do in this game? Because I couldn't tell you. She seems smart maybe, but also I don't really know. I think people on Hina generally like her. She's not on the bottom, but also I don't really know. She might be athletic, but she might not be. I don't know. She's probably the biggest question mark for me out of anybody this season, just because like, what do I take from the two outbursts that I've seen from her, if you would call them outbursts? It's either she is very vocal at the mat, or the editors don't like her, which it could be both.
Yeah.
Could be both, but yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. And finally, on the Nukella tribe, we have Steven with a V. What do we think about Steven?
I've liked Steven. I think Survivor has. Okay, before I get actually, I can get away without saying it. Well, when we get to the other tribe, I'll talk about it a bit. Yeah. I think the content we have been shown through the edit on Steven is very promising.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And it's looked good for him in the sense of like they made it very clear that like Steven very early on was the glue to a lot of people and that they've really liked him.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where he's mostly social, but like I feel like if I needed him to clutch up and win an immunity challenge, I could see him realistically doing it. Like he has like the physical and like the mental attributes, and I think by all accounts he's gotten a fantastic tribe shakeup for people that generally like him. And that like the only issue I have for him is like when you look at the yellow tribe, it's okay, who are you scared of?
Yeah.
And that's one where it's like, I don't necessarily like, and I'm not on the beach, so I don't necessarily, and I don't think we really know for sure what the totem pole looks like there and for perceptions.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't be shocked if they're like, let's make a big move and let's get Steven out. Like, I really believe we could see like that come the merge, like fair, like maybe not the mergatory boot, but like one or two after that of like, I think if he gets past that, he has a really good shot towards going far. It's just going to be that weird, like, can he survive like those first couple until the double tribal?
Yeah.
And then can he get some room to play?
No, I think Steven definitely has a shot. I think, as you said, I think he's probably the most well-insulated member of his tribe. But it's just a question mark of like, once again, I hate to pull the string again, but it's like I haven't seen these people go to tribal council yet.
Yeah.
Like Steven is like an aerospace engineer or something, like has some space expertise. So he should be smart, but that doesn't always translate to being a good Survivor player. So I don't know. I think everybody on the other tribe, I have a better sense of how they're going to become down the road and whether or not they're going to turn out to be a good Survivor player or not. And some people have surprised me positively and some people have surprised me negatively on the other side. And so I don't know about Steven yet, but I do like him theoretically. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about these other players. And as I do so, I think I personally will be talking about them as it relates to the course of the episode and how they were or were not good players. And so I'm going to start with Jason on the new Hina tribe, who had a really weird episode.
Yeah, like it's one of, when I was watching it, it was one of those where it's like he's outlining his game plan, and I'm like I'm following along. I understand where he's coming from, but it's like I don't think this is the right for the people you have on this beach. This is not the right way to go about this.
Yeah,
and sure he'll look at it as like, oh, I survived, it worked. Bluffing that I'm going to play the shot in the dark. But like he should know that with those numbers, they could just vote split and it's not going to matter. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I definitely was higher on him before this episode. And I just don't know what game he's trying to play.
No, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Like it seems like he wants to lean into like, at least what we've been gotten, like he wants to lean into the strategy.
Maybe.
But like the strategy hasn't been there. So is he going for social? Because like he made a lot of social blunders in this episode with talking about this supposed strategy. So I he's fallen down my power. If I had a power rankings, he would have fallen down on probably the most of all the players.
Yeah, Jason is kind of the prime example of why I was saying so much about Original Hina. Like, I don't know what's up with them strategically, because if you asked me before this episode, I would have said, yeah, Jason is probably in the best spot because he's so good at puzzles that people will not want to get rid of him, and he won't give them a reason to get rid of him because he's well liked by everybody. And then you get him into the tribe swap, and it's like, yeah, no, he was so well integrated with that tribe that he's just saying to the people that, yeah, I'm really well integrated with my tribe and I really won't consider anything else.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me. It's like Survivor 101. I get it in the sense of like the enemy you know is better than the enemy you don't know, but this isn't like the merge where you're trying to get out people before they get you out or something like that. This is pre-merge, and this is a guy who's basically saying he's going to be a number for the other side come the merge. And by the way, he's also maybe the best person at puzzles in the whole game, by like a lot. So it's like, frankly, I don't really get why they didn't take him out, because they could have vote split. They did vote split to some extent, and if the shot in the dark went off, that's where Matt goes home, and if it didn't, Jason goes home, and it just makes sense to me. But now what Jason has done is he's burned the bridge of saying that he's going to play shot in the dark. So his predictability that he was basically trying to vie for the entire episode didn't even work, because he went against his predictable plan, he said to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like Jason is not long for this world, which makes me sad to say, because I was really my stocks were high on him after like the first two episodes.
I hate to say it, after the first two episodes, I was like, are we like, I was getting Kenny from Gabon.
Yeah.
I was like, is this what we're going for? Because I'm really here for it.
Yeah.
And I've learned very quickly he does not have the strategic chops that Kenny did. At least in my opinion, as of right now.
Well, I'm trying to think about like what Jason thought he was doing, because, you know, it wasn't what he was really doing. I guess he was thinking that like honesty is the best policy, which is crazy because like it worked. It didn't not work.
No, it seems like what he was going for was a like in his. I'm trying to think as rationally as I could if I was him.
Sure.
Look, I know what the numbers are at. It's a 50-50 between me and Matt. If I say I am playing my shot in the dark, they will still give me the split votes, but they'll throw more on the other side, so they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Which I think makes sense. However, the way he was pitching it of like, I want to look as small as I can. Like, I just could not understand what like he thought was going to like, whatever he thought they were going to think to that was not the reaction he got.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. A lot of my thoughts of Jason are weird, because it's like, yeah, he played badly, but he also probably, in my opinion, was not the person who played the worst from his tribe, aka Matt. So it's like, look, I guess at least Jason didn't do that bad, is sort of what I thought. So it's bad, but yeah, if Hina loses again, it's like he's gone.
Yeah.
It's like there should be no reason why he doesn't go home, because he is great at puzzles. He's not on anybody else's on the tribe side, and he doesn't want to work with you.
After we talk about all the people, I want to talk about this dynamics. I think there's something here to talk about, like to spend an extended amount of time on.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to it, but first, let's talk about Jawan, who I also thought had a weird episode. But you go ahead and talk to me about your thoughts on him.
Jawan's fine. I think of the Red Tribe, he's the least interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't say that as a bad thing, because I still think he's a lot more entertaining than like quite a lot of the people on the season. So like that's still like pretty good for him. He's just like, we've gotten things of him like getting excluded where it's like, it just seems like happen of circumstance and like weird reasonings. Like it's almost like they're looking for a reason to get rid of him.
Yeah.
That's what it's felt like. And like from what it sounds like, is he would have been the first boot from that red tribe. Like that's where at least it like seemed like the edit wanted us to think or was leaning.
Mm-hmm.
They never went, so it doesn't matter. But that's like what they're making it seem like. But like it's weird because like we've seen a lot of the red tribe do stuff, but Jawan's kind of just been like we haven't seen him like do like. I mean, Red's been running around doing all the stuff, and it's like he hasn't necessarily been doing that the last few episodes.
No,
but like they're making it like he's just not included in this core 4 from them, and that just kind of it is what it is. I think he could be a very fun player flipping like in a middle role is where I think he could like really excel, like just like for my entertainment value on him. If he makes it to the merge and he's the one that flips on red and like kind of starts this little train wreck, I think that'd be a really fun Jawan storyline.
Well, this is what I thought was interesting about this episode is exactly that. You know, he gets a pretty good pitch from Matt to some extent of like, hey, you, me, Jason, Sophie, we work together to take out Nate, which is a fine idea theoretically, except for the fact that Sophie has already been so like brought in by all the former Uli. Not that Matt knew that, but you know, it happens. And Jawan takes this information and just goes to like Savannah and goes laughing about it. Like, I can't believe this guy. And maybe that's the right thing to do in that situation. But I think about the other thing Jawan did, which was use the tribe disadvantage on Hina earlier in the season. And it's like, Jawan has given a lot to the tribe to bring people together. But I have not seen anybody from Uli give anything back to Jawan. And I would think that his eyes would open a little bit because of that, but he was like, he was saying I was on the bottom. Crazy. That's ridiculous. And Savannah's like, yeah, no, you're on the bottom. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Jawan said like at the end of the season, like, yeah, I knew I was on the bottom and I was just trying to jockey myself in a better positioning. I could see that, but I don't know. I don't know. I would like to get that confessional.
I think the thought process of Jawan is like even if I believe I'm on the bottom, they're not taking the shot here. They're going to want to at least, get a couple yellows out first. Like I have a couple, like, I don't see him being in real danger. Like,
no, I agree with that.
Like I have multiple votes, but like once it gets time to it, then I think he's stuck on a rock and a hard place with nowhere to go. But like for at least the next like 2 to 3 votes, I don't see it while they're in the tribal phase.
Yeah, no, this is why I say it was an interesting episode. I don't necessarily think it was a bad episode for Jawan because frankly, I think he did all the right stuff. Yeah. He was right not to go with Matt. He didn't burn any bridges that way. I don't think Jason really cares that much. I think he was right to do all of that. It's just like, I don't know how intentional it is because I haven't gotten that confessional. Yeah. If tomorrow, if next episode he gives me the confessional that, boy, I'm in a tough spot, but hey, as sticking by their side for now is the best thing for my game, I'll be like, yes, that's correct. Just like it was correct for you to use the tribe disadvantage on Hina. That was the right thing to do. But I don't know. I haven't seen that yet. And it's like, I can't in good faith say, yeah, Jawan's in a better position than Rizzo or Savannah or Nate or whoever else, as long as like, I don't have that idea that he's not playing their game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there you go. Well, next up is our fallen soldier for this episode, and that would be Matt. We'll probably get a little more into the actual like dynamics of the episode, but I mean, Matt had a weird episode, and he's dead now. Well, not dead in real life, but dead in the game. So I want to ask you what your thoughts were on Matt, just in general.
I feel like my thoughts around Matt are less on Matt and more on the dynamics of why he went home.
Yeah.
I really struggle with this because like the pitch I know I'm talking a little bit about Savannah, but the pitch for why Matt goes home, I think is kind of dumb.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like the whole thing of like, oh, to get there in finance, they had to like all of the people, like half the people on the show are gonna be lying about their jobs anyways. Like, so and like he said what he does, and he went and did something else.
Yeah.
Like I would think that like if you hear that, you would think, wow, like he has a good head on his shoulders. He knows that wasn't for him, and he wanted to do something that he enjoys more in life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got out of that interaction.
Yeah.
But for her, it was the opposite of like oh, this is dangerous. Like they're sociopaths to go and do that and that. And like, sure, he kind of played himself into the bottom by trying to make this pitch, but he's on the bottom. He has to make a pitch anyways.
Sure.
And it's hard for me to really say I don't know if this is weird, but like I don't know like if he did anything really that wrong per se, because realistically in this episode, it was between him and Jason.
Yeah.
And Jason didn't really do anything that good either.
Yeah. I think so the worst thing I
feel like he almost played better than Jason and still went home as a result of it.
I think he should have played better than Jason, and I think he had better ideas of what to do in the game. I think the biggest mistake was just like he didn't throw Jason under the bus. It's like it would have been so easy to do so. And if he just would have said, Jason, I'm willing to work with you all. Jason isn't. That's it. Like that's all you need.
Yeah.
Like
that. I didn't even think about that. Like simple, but you're 100% right.
Yeah, I mean, like if Jason did the same thing to Matt, like that could have worked. But let's say that's what the episode becomes. It's Jason versus Matt. One of them's going home. All it takes for Jason to go home is Matt being like, hey, this guy's way better at puzzles than the rest of us, and he's loyal to the tribe. And I'm not. I was on the bottom. And I think people will believe that. And it's like, that's as simple as that. But going to what Savannah was saying, I think that's just Savannah looking for an excuse to get rid of Matt. I don't think it's a real, like, thing about, like, this guy's smart. I think it's probably, I don't even know what it is. Maybe he's the enemy. I don't know. He's more unpredictable. And Jason seems like he does not know how to play a strategic game, so I'd rather keep him around.
Yeah.
That would be my guess in terms of what Savannah's doing, because you can have an excuse to get rid of anybody on Survivor. Like you don't need to like be like, yeah, no, they're worse for my game. You can say this person eats too many coconuts. This person has been hiding shoes, or, this person has an evil laugh. Like you can say whatever. And it's like, well, as long as you feel that way, it's a valid reason to get rid of someone. And I think for Matt, it might've been unpredictability, but I think at the end of the day, he could have been here an episode longer if he just made the case, but instead he wanted to make a big move. Not the worst idea in the world, but you got to look at numbers. Oh, and that's another thing. Sorry, is the fact that on the mat after the challenge, he was like, yeah, it looks pretty bad, Jeff. They could take one of us out right now, me and Jason, because they have the numbers and we don't. And so one of us is kind of screwed. And he said that to Matt. Like, that's a reason to get rid of you. You're giving them a reason to get rid of you. Like, yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
You make a compelling case.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, real quick, before we go on, just in 20 seconds, do you think this was the right move for the rest of the people on the tribe?
No, I think they should have gotten rid of Jason because he's really good at puzzles, and he's clearly not going to work with them. Like, I think Matt, maybe he was a little more unpredictable or whatever. So, like, it's not easy to say whether or not he'll flip or he'll stay and he'll be like an anomaly. But Jason's just going to be on the other side. Like, I can't even imagine a world where Jason gets so desperate that he goes to Savannah is like, hey, by the way, I do want to work with you. I think it's much more likely that he'll just sulk in sadness and like just won't even try to work with her, regardless of whether he needs it or not. Yeah. And meanwhile, he seems like well liked enough by Hina so that if he went on a challenge run and won a bunch of puzzles in a row and got to the final tribal council, he could get a few votes. And it's like, I don't know if I see that from Matt. So yeah, no, I think Jason was the better option to go home 100%. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to another target this episode, and that was Nate. What do you think about Nate?
Nate is probably my other favorite player. I have loved what we've gotten from Nate.
Mm-hmm.
I like to. Nate just has the it factor when it comes to social.
For sure.
That a lot of people, like on any given season, there's one or two of those it people who understand the social.
Yeah.
And he does. So he's really interesting to watch. I liked the dynamic of him. Like he's not really like that old.
No.
Like, but like as like the older guy, like they're like relating with the kids. Like I find like usually I don't enjoy that type of like, they always will do it on one of the episodes. Like somebody's going to be portrayed as like the mom or the dad. And like usually like I'm not like, I know on 45, like Mama J, like, yeah, fine.
Sure.
But like I liked it from the aspect of from this one, they specifically made it like, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Yeah.
And like, I find it like it'd be a fun little spin on that. I think, like it's just, he's been compelling socially. I think if I'm looking, like, I'm just trying to think back now, like all like those, like really like social people. Like I always like to think when social, Michelle Fitzgerald, like,
sure.
That's social to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, like I see similarities in the social of how they interact with people.
Yeah. Just like kind of just bending to what they're talking about, being able to relate to anything. Yeah.
And I think it's the difference between a good and a great social game is the subtle.
Yeah.
Everybody always is like, oh, Caleb was phenomenally socially. Not really, because it was so obvious.
Yeah. And also, like by the time the merge came, he only had one ally because everybody else is like, this guy is too good at being social. Yeah. A great social game is like Kim Spradlin, another One World mention, where it's like, everybody liked her and everybody knew that they liked her, but everybody felt like they had a special connection to her. And sometimes like things like that can be forced, but even forced like special connections can work. See David versus Goliath, Nick Wilson doing that with everybody. Like it can be forced, but it can still work if you feel like you're building a genuine connection with someone. And I don't know, maybe Caleb did that, maybe he didn't do that, but I do think Nate is definitely doing that this season so far. So big ups to him.
Yes.
I did find it interesting this episode how Nate reacted to him knowing that he was going to get a vote, because this is my trepidation with him and this is my concern, because I feel like he got quite paranoid fast, which I kind of get. And well, no, I don't get it, because he was basically looking at the world where he knew that his side had the votes, but was like, what if there's a world where Jason hits his shot in the dark and then I go home because Matt had an idol or just some other, buffoonery happens. And it's like, that is so unrealistic that it's like, I don't know. If I'm in a situation where I'm going home if a shot in the dark is successfully played and other stuff happens,
it wasn't meant to be.
It's just like, that's just the luck of the draw. Like, Jay Maya getting voted out after the shot in the dark in 45 is like, that is bad luck. That doesn't make me think Jay Maya was a bad player.
No.
It just makes me think like, hey, maybe in like 10 seasons, she should get another shot, and that's how I would feel if Nate went home. I'd just be like, man, that's Survivor. Maybe that's just the problem with the shot in the dark. Maybe it's not, but like, that's how it goes. So yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but there's controversy going down behind you on the TV.
Oh yeah, this is the Trek reward in Fiji. One of the great forgotten things in Survivor history.
I can't talk about this. I could talk about this episode and this controversy for literally an hour. So can we go to before we go to Riz and Savannah? Can we do Sophie?
Yeah, sure. Let's
Because
do Sophie.
Like everybody else, I'm putting Rizzo and Savannah on the same vein, and my thoughts about them are very specifically in context of 50 stuff.
Sure.
So I'd like to go to Sophie first.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about Sophie?
Sophie's been fun.
Yeah.
Sophie's been fun. There are some people where I like them for the strategy and I like them for the fun. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of both from Sophie, but the things that stand out to me most are just how fun she is to be on my TV. Like there are like that many people that like pop out in a really entertaining way this season, and she feels like one of the standouts. Like I wouldn't. I'm trying to say this because I don't want it like. I don't know if it's a quirk or like it's definitely not a tick, but like I do notice like she's super Catholic.
Is she? I didn't.
Because every time something happens, she goes for the.
Oh yeah, I have.
She's always doing that. Like
she has.
It's just like little things like that where it's like I don't know why this stuff like kind of makes me like them or like find it like fun, but like she is very authentically herself out there.
Yeah,
which I really appreciate, and like I think she's made the right strategic moves. Like she knew that there's no way Alex wasn't playing the idol, so I'm voting Jeremiah. Like she hasn't necessarily done anything wrong on that side of things, and I think similar to Alex, will be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I think it helps that of course Sophie and Alex have both gone to a lot of tribal councils. Sophie has been to every tribal council. Like this will help her in the long run. And I think about sort of like I was talking about this last week of like the idea of like, hey, Alex and Sophie were a final two. There have not been very many like final two people on a tribe in Survivor history, and every single one that's existed has been like all good players basically. You got Bobby John and Stephanie, you got Ricard and Shan, you got Malcolm and Denise, you got Sophie and Alex, and it feels like. And I know we're early in the season, but it feels like, man, Alex and Sophie just theoretically is a big downgrade from those other ones, right? But I mean, give it time. And it's like we talked about Alex's floor earlier is like similar to that of Morgan and Big Brother, where it's like this person is going to be perceived as good at the game no matter what, and will be good at the game in some capacity. Sophie's kind of the opposite, where it's like she is going to fly under the radar. And she's not going to go home until merge. I think like if Hina keeps going to tribal council and there's multiple rounds left, it would be Jason going home next, and then maybe Jawan going home next. And I don't know after that. I wouldn't even guarantee that Sophie goes home after that. Just because I feel like she's been through it. She knows how to get herself out of the line of fire. See, when it was Jeremiah going home, she was not even considered at all. Alex was considered before her, and he had an idol. So it's like I think Sophie's in a good spot. I can definitely see her once merge hits coasting far towards near the end of the game.
Yeah, based on your hypothetical, do we have like? I know we're going to 13, and like the new era 13's always been when they merge.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to try something at 12? Are they going to like? It seems ambitious for them to wait till 11 after doing 13 for so many years. But like, I'm curious, like how, like I said, I like the tribal portions. So like, I don't mind. And like, they've been making it shorter and shorter in recent years. So it's nice to see an extended tribe phase.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just trying to think of when they merge. Cause like, cause it's always in like the next time on.
Yeah.
Drop your buffs. But like, we didn't see that for this one. So,
I believe 13. There are a few different ways that this could happen. They could merge. I think both of them involve them merging at 12. I think 11 would be cool, but it's not going to happen.
No.
I think them merging at 12 can either be we do our mergatory at 12, and then we just have like a normal season for the rest of it, which would be cool, and I would like that. Or we could do what I think happened in 44 after Bruce got medevaced, which is they merge at 12. They do the mergatory at 12. They have a normal vote at 11, and then they do
the worst format, the worst version of it,
which is sort of nightmare scenario. So I'm really hoping that's not the case. But in the event that it is, we have to prepare for it. And So That's my concern. And that's, again, why I brought up Christina and Jawan is like, hey, if that happens, watch out, you two. But I think people like Sophie and Alex are good for that scenario. I think they'll be able to make it through fine. And yeah, I think that our last two are interesting for reasons that you mentioned.
I have a lot to talk about with this.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I don't really want to get into the thought process of like, okay, why are these two, on 50?
I want to get into it. Am I allowed to? Or do you?
Yeah, I mean we can. I don't know.
I won't do it a ton. I won't do it a ton.
I don't know how much I can really say about it without just like reading into the edit completely, which I kind of hate doing. Like I'm not an edgic person, so
I'm not I don't do edgic. But I kind of have my own method to my madness.
Well, let's go to Rizzo first. RIZGOD baby. Who is an interesting figure in the game. But I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, Rizzo is. I think a lot of people said this. Rizzo is not who we thought we were getting when the season kicked off. I like Rizzo.
Yeah,
Rizzo's fun. He's, I would say, like one of the very first, like very Gen Z. Like the archetype of Gen Z.
Yeah.
But he also like is a little more like outgoing about himself and his personality. Like, oh, I'm using my nickname. Like, it's all me. Like and like I don't. We haven't gotten like, and this is kind of more like I was talking earlier, like kind of like being a little more like, not the sob story. Like I kind of find this thing a little bit more fun.
Yeah, he's a fun character for sure.
He's fun. I won't get into a ton about 50. Between the two, I find him to be the more fun of the two.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those where like it feels like he's gonna bring it to me. Like it'll be electric in the postseason of this is like kind of what I feel like I'm getting from him. Of like he's gonna try to play up his his Riz God. Like he's gonna try to play into that and like make moves for like he's gonna do it for the bit is what I'll say. And like I feel like we're gonna get some of that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. It's interesting because I've been thinking about like Rizzo is the survivor like nerd of the season, the young survivor nerd, an archetype that we see in every season nowadays. And I was trying to think of like who does he remind me of? And he reminds me a little bit of Andy from 46 in his own, or 47 in his own way, because like both of them, I was saying this to somebody on an episode a few days ago or a few weeks ago, but like he reminds me of like Andy if he completed his character arc in like episode 1 and just like got to coast the rest of the episode. Because like he had the thing with the puzzle where he was like, I can't do this, like I'm screwed, and then he managed to overcome it. And since then, I feel like he's been like, yeah, I can play this game.
I will say the difference between the two, is that I agree with that, but Rizzo perceives himself as being the one.
Being the what one? Sorry.
Like he perceives himself as being like the sports guy, athletic guy. Like he's into sport, like he's into that stuff. And it's like that's not what you're giving me when I look at you. Like,
yeah.
Like so he's different in that sense, but I think I agree of like the dude cannot he's shockingly bad at puzzle. Like I don't know how you can get onto Survivor and just be like that. Like it was horrible. There were not that many pieces.
Yeah. I like what you said about like thinking that he's something more than maybe he is. Like if Andy thought of himself at the start of 47 as being like Brandon Donlin, Rizzo is thinking that he's like Spencer or Ryman or whatever. Like he thinks that he's like, yeah, I'm a nerd, but like I'm like a strong nerd, which maybe he is. Like we don't know yet. He's he did in fact beat Alex at that first challenge, and his tribe has not gone to tribal council up until this episode. So I mean, like he's got something to him. I like him. We'll see. I'm not convinced that like I'm sure he'll be around for a little while longer.
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, he has to be.
But I'm not.
He has to be.
by what we've seen, if you told me, hey, this guy's going to be on a future season, I would not be convinced, which is funny because I think I'm the opposite of you, where I am convinced on Savannah, who we have to talk about next. So tell me your thoughts on Savannah.
I have to talk about 50 in context to just this beginning part.
Sure.
We are being force-fed Savannah when we don't need to see her every episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'll maybe talk about it with you a little bit offline. Because
I think I know what you're gonna get at.
I know you know what I'm getting at, and it's frustrating in that sense.
Sure.
But also like it's Devin's shtick, but if it's not fun.
Yeah.
See, in my opinion, like I just don't
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's the more strategic Rick Dev. It's like if Rick Devins was not funny. This is what you would get.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. But like I like it, like I said, it's tough because I know the context.
Yeah.
If you asked me and this was a random season, I would probably be like I would mention some of those things of like, oh, maybe we're seeing a little bit of her. But I'm like, oh, she's fun.
Yeah.
I like her. Like she'll be a go to one season. Let me bring it. Maybe we bring her back for a second chances, or we bring her back in 10 seasons from now.
Yeah. I totally get it, but I have like additional context when it comes to Savannah as somebody who works in journalism. So
this is what I need. This is up your alley. Where I had the Alex stuff, you have the Savannah stuff.
Exactly. So this is my alley. So I think that there are similarities in the way that the show wants to present Devins and Savannah in terms of like do a news report, you know, that sort of thing. But this is the difference between weather people and reporters. It just is. Weather people, happy-go-lucky, like positive, like all about vibes, all about like, yeah, I'll do, yeah. Like that sort of thing. That is weather people. That's sort of the archetype for a reason, because a lot of weather people are like that, Rick Devins included. Savannah is a reporter. Reporters are not like that. Reporters are serious. They get down to business. They don't take shit. And that's what I like about Savannah, is like in an era of sob stories, so to speak, or, you know, like people like Rizzo who are just like, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Survivor, this has been my dream. Savannah is here and is like, I'm here to win $1 million and I don't care. This is what I like about some of the personalities on this season, like Savannah and like Shannon, is like they are a breath of fresh air in their own way. I'm trying to think of the past few seasons, and it's like the last person that Savannah maybe reminds me of is maybe like Venus, but I didn't like Venus, and I like Savannah. So
I liked Venus.
See, there you go.
No, I think it's not even like I think this is a pretty obvious comparison. I think the comparison is to Sophie Clark.
Yeah, I think that's a real comparison. And I think it also makes sense in the context of like South Pacific. You got the coach.
That's why I said
Sophie. It. Yeah, it's like it's right there. But I mean, it's real. So there you go.
Yes.
And those are the tribes. So that's what we're getting at. I mean,
perfect.
I think right now, what sort of my thought process is on the season, it is like we still haven't really seen half the people in the game.
No.
So it's weird. This is once again kind of one of the downfalls of the 3-tribe format, is if you focus on so many people who are in the game for 3 episodes or whatever else, then it's like we're maybe an episode or 2 from the merge or the mergatory, and it's like I will only learn who Sophie is in 2 episodes. Like,
I mean, I think that's part of why we are low on 46.
Yeah.
Like as we were talking, I like was remembering like, oh, that was the season with Banu, and that was like Q and that like whole thing. But it's like
I like 46. I do, but that's a very real thing. It's like I didn't know who Tim is. Like who is Tim? You know, who's Mariah?
Yeah.
You know. who's Charlie? Like, I didn't know who these people were. I knew that Charlie's gimmick was he likes Taylor Swift. And frankly, that's kind of all I knew about him for like 10 episodes.
Yeah, so. I have a point that I want to go into about this episode and next episode specifically.
Sure.
It's around a subject, a controversial subject.
Okay.
In Survivor. I don't know if we have seen a better time with the way these tribes broke out and who's on who. This might be the best example to throw a challenge in Survivor ever.
For which side?
Both sides. They both have incentives to throw because they're both in the majority.
Yeah.
The old yellow is in the majority. The red tribe is in a majority. And from what we got in the episode, those are not breaking yet.
Yeah. No.
So like by all accounts, this the Hina tribe right here, right?
Yeah.
Like for Rizzo, Savannah, Nate, and Jawan, it makes sense for them that they should lose on purpose to vote out a yellow.
Yeah.
So when they go to the merge, they have more numbers. This is like the only time I can remember in forever in Survivor where I think the best strategic play for the majority of the people is for you to lose your challenge.
I think that is a great point, especially for the Hina side, where it's like the person on the other side is Shannon, who they basically, I mean, whether or not it's like a real alliance or whatever, they've rallied around her, and she's been sort of the beacon that has brought them the Core 4 alliance together. So they don't want her to go home. For Kella, I think it's a little bit of a tougher case, especially now that Matt's gone. I really don't know how. Once again, this is the thing about them not going to tribal councils. Like, I don't really know how close Matt was in the true like nucleus of the tribe. I would assume he was kind of on the outs, but I don't really know. And I guess the question that I ask is, if I'm MC and Christina and Sophie, am I going to throw the challenge to get rid of like Shannon or Sage, even though I'm connecting well with Shannon right now, and that could be an in for me later?
Well, so, I mean, here's the. I mean, I think the thought process here is like, sure, you're thinking ahead, but I'm also thinking at every single possible outcome.
Yeah.
In the extremely short term, losing the challenge is best to get you another day in the game. And sure, there's a lot of question marks about like where Matt stood or where some of the people where some of the people stand.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't think of a better example in Survivor where both, like, on some of the tribes, sure, one team should throw. Yeah. But on this one, like, I think both sides had very compelling reasons to not try in the challenge. Because, I mean, here's the thing now is, let's say, can you go back to that graphic real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So if you're on blue now, like, let's say we're going to the next episode, right?
Sure.
I mean, what they're going to say, oh, they voted out a yellow. We got to even the numbers.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say, I can't take a chance of them voting out Jason for an easy boot. So we have to do it here.
Good point.
Because they want to even the numbers. Whereas yellow is going to say, hey, we should just lose this challenge. We vote out Jason. We have even bigger numbers advantage.
Yeah.
They both have reasons why they should do it. And I get it. It's for some reason it's taboo to throw challenges on Survivor, and I generally understand why it is, just because you're sending yourself to tribal council. But I think, like I said, this was the best case scenario for a lot of people, and I haven't seen a more obvious chance to throw a challenge in the last, I don't know how many years.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I never considered that. And I think about it from the perspective of, like, if I try to think through Survivor history, sure, there are plenty of tribes who have thrown a challenge. Billy and Cook Islands is a classic example. I think about after the merge in Worlds Apart, Mike throws to keep Kelly in the game and stuff like that. Like, this happens. I can't think of a time where there were multiple instances where you could throw, and it's just the right option multiple times in a row.
Yeah.
But that is what the case would be for one of, if not both of these tribes in this situation. And
which is really interesting.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
I've never thought about it like that, because I feel like also a lot of the times when there are swaps like this, especially swaps that go to 2, which we haven't seen in a while, but swaps that go to 2, it's very much like it's not so much about 2 tribes and then one that doesn't matter, because usually it's like all 3 tribes have, at least 3 people. Even I think about 45 that went to 2 tribes, I believe. And
did it actually?
No,
I thought it stuck to 3. I was going to say, I don't think we've seen 2 tribes since 40.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
But it was your irrelevant tribe.
But either way, my point is basically like, even that tribe where it was so Reba versus whatever the blue tribe was, it was so red versus blue, but there were still 3 Lulu members scattered about, despite how disastrous of a tribe that was. 2 is like so much more irrelevant. Like, that's how you get Malcolm and Denise floating to the end of the game versus whatever else. And you think about it, and it's like, this has never happened before. There's never been a group of 2 that's swapped into tribes of 2. That's a lot of the number 2, but it's true. And it creates a really interesting game environment, because it's basically a tribe versus tribe mentality when there's an additional tribe there that doesn't matter. And it's almost a straight swap.
I really, and here's, I know that, like I said, I think when we start to pick people, we can just go on tangents now.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I really, with so many disaster tribes happening, and so many of them going the exact same way and them getting swapped out of it.
Yeah.
I would have, just for the sake of doing something different, I would not have minded them running a challenge with 2 people left.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean,
and I get it. It can be really unfair to that tribe, and that's why they don't want to do it. And I totally understand that. But from a TV side of things, it's like, I think it can be compelling. I think it's compelling when you go down to 1.
I do too.
And I know it sucks for that person at 2 when they by all accounts, they probably should swap there, because it's just the right choice. But like, we haven't seen it in forever to go down. I mean, we've only seen one, the one time?
Yeah, the one time was Survivor Palau.
Let's try it again. Let's just do it. Let's just do something that makes the seasons memorable, because when they don't have titles and they're all numbers, you need these little X factors that make them stand out. And I can assure you, if they went down to 1% on blue, you would remember the season.
It does say something that the X factor this season thus far, besides, a guy getting bit by a snake, is we swapped to 2 tribes. Like, that's
the bar is the bar is on the floor.
The bar is on the floor, but at the same time, it's like that creates this interesting game environment where we can say, yeah, maybe it's best to throw the challenge twice in a row, because you're right, it is for both sides, and that's not very normal.
No,
most of the time, I was even trying to think of like swaps where it just goes from 2 tribes to 2 tribes, and it's like, I don't think there was a lot of like opportunities to throw either. No. I think about Micronesia swapping between the fans and the favorites. And one of the tribes, I forget which one, but one of them was like way majority favorite. Yeah. But they still didn't throw, because at the end of the day, the favorites tribe was divided. It was basically half Sari and Parvati's side and half like Jonathan's side, and Amy's side and stuff like that. Like, it was still divided, despite, them all being favorites or whatnot. Same is true of the fans tribe. You had, your Jasons and your Erics and your Tracy Wolf Hugheses of the world, but you also had your Chets and your Kathys. Or no, I guess they were on Tracy's side, but you know what I mean. Like, there was still divide there, and it's like here, it's like partially because neither of them had to go to tribal council. They're still in the kumbaya phase, both of them, and so
I mean, I think this just really shows the issue with the 3 tribe format of you only need 4.
Yeah.
And it leads to these situations because, I mean, it's just the exponential difference to pulling in 6 to pulling in 4 is insanely more difficult.
Yeah, seriously.
Which is why in all those older seasons, when they swap from 2 to 2, they can't throw it because there's too many variables there.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like you're having on a tribe of 7, 4 people on your original starting tribe. Like it leads to those scenarios when you start with 3, and that's not to say to axe 3 forever, but I would not like let's say you have a stretch of 10 years.
Yeah.
2 to maybe 3 of those should be 3 tribe formats.
Mm-hmm.
I think Survivor is at its peak in the 2 tribe format, and we saw that on Survivor. I don't know if you saw the latest Survivor Australia versus the World.
I did, yeah.
But like you saw it there, and the 2 tribe. I think, and now I'm just thinking off the top of my head now.
Sure.
I think when they're both at their best, 3 tribes probably is slightly better.
Yeah,
but when 3 tribes when they're at their bottom, 3 tribes is so much worse than 2 tribes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think honestly,
it's just there's less gameplay variable in the 3 tribes, which is what I don't like.
That's what I was about to say. Is like if I just took a look at my favorite seasons, which I can do right now because I just have my list on my phone. My favorite seasons are the ones that start with like 2 tribes for the most part. My favorite season, Second Chances, starts with 2 tribes. Heroes versus Villains, 2 tribes. Pearl Islands, 2 tribes. Micronesia, 2 tribes. Blood versus Water, 2 tribes. I could go on and on, but you get the point.
Cagayan not there. Interesting.
Yeah, Cagayan is 8, followed by Philippines. So I do like 3 tribe seasons. Like they're up there, but like I think the thing that is hard to replicate in 3 tribe formats, which funnily enough we're getting this season, is like the rivalry. Like the default season in my mind is always South Pacific because that's just the one I think about the most. That's my personal Roman Empire. And South Pacific is great because not only does Coach have a cult going on, it's a cult that is also actively against the Aussies tribe. And it goes from, being a seemingly standard 2 tribe affair to be like, Cochrane, you flipped on us and you went with the Upatau tribe or whatever. I don't remember.
Time to die.
And it's like, you're dead to me. Don goes to him and is like, I thought I treated you like my son and you did this to me. And Keith is like, not cool, bro. Not cool. I'm not talking to you anymore. It's like, that's awesome.
It's
like,
so awesome.
It's great. And that's just not something that's, there's going to be that rivalry, but maybe it's because there are no cults involved, or maybe it's just because everybody's a super fan now, or maybe it's just because of the 3 tribe format. But if say Sage goes and is now part of the old Hina tribe and just screws over everybody else, I don't think even Savannah is going to go to her and be like, you're a bad person or something like that. Like, maybe that's just because South Pacific's awesome. But,
okay, this is a weird, but now we're down this rabbit hole.
Sure.
The only person, I was trying to think, who do I legitimately think could do what code, like that style of being a cult leader, of like, you crossed us, you're done with us.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can do it in the way of like the religious way anymore.
Sure. Shannon's trying, so we'll see.
She's trying. I think the way you have to do it is with social empathy. And last season on 48 with Eva.
Yeah, no,
I think that's like in current Survivor, that's what it's going to have to take to get that to come back. Is you crossed Eva, we're done. Like, you need that. That's like the only shot you got.
Throughout the whole season during 48, I was on this podcast and I was saying that like the thing about Joe and Eva that makes them so hard to go against isn't just the fact that they have this idol. It's the fact that they have this unbreakable bond and they're all about loyalty. Them constantly preaching their own loyalty may be hypocritical or whatever else, but like it means that if you cross them, you'll be like David and you'll be done. It's almost like an unintentional Boston Rob Redemption Island thing, which I love because they weren't trying to, but they basically reverse engineered it, where Boston Rob did the same thing of like, we are together, we will not, go against the loyalty we have. And if you do, you're going to end up like Matt from Redemption Island, who decided to say that like Zapatero, you did a good job in that challenge or something. And then we voted you out the first time. And then you came back from Redemption Island. We're sending you back. So, that's what you have to do, is you have to do like a Boston Rob thing. But I don't know if you can even do a Boston Rob thing. It has to be more of a Kim Spradlin thing.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do because that's Kim Spradlin. So
it's impossible.
There you go.
I don't know how much more we have, but one of the things with the new era for me that I've been bored by is that when there's no themes going on of like, okay, like David versus Goliath or all of these things like that. When there's none of that, like I need something when it comes to a game, like a fun gameplay thing to keep me engaged. If there's going to be no job archetype tribes.
Yeah.
So I will hear your thoughts. Like, I really think we either need a blood versus water badly, or we need a Redemption Island badly. And that's not even to say Redemption Island is kind of whatever to me, like as a concept. I mean, compared to Edge of Extinction, I think it's a fantastic idea.
Sure. Yeah.
But like Survivor, Jeff preaches Survivor is unpredictable. Survivor is at its most predictable it's ever been.
For sure. I mean, I can predict of like the two possible options of what happened when they merge. Like because there are two options. Like, so like
I think we're especially after seeing Australian Survivor and seeing how bad we got it over here. I know it's blasphemy, but Jeff, just get him off the production, please.
See, I'm not as extreme as you are in this.
Yeah, like I said, I know I'm also kind of giving a little bit of I still enjoy obviously this, but I'm playing it up a little bit for some.
Yeah. Well, I get that. And to some extent, I am too. But you're right. You're right in the sense of like, like there should be something switched up, and I hope that Survivor 50 will be the catalyst. I'll tell you an interesting way that I've really appreciated gimmicks a little more is not with Australia versus the world, because to me, Australian Survivor just feels like it's a whole nother continent. It feels like a different world, even though it's a different show. It just feels like its own thing, if you ask me, if that makes sense. The thing that's made me appreciate gimmicks more is actually The Amazing Race, because this season of The Amazing Race has been all Big Brother contestants, and it's like The Amazing Race to me for years it's not really a show I watch much because it's been so stagnant to me. It's like every time I turn it on, it's like, I know exactly what I'm getting into. And it's like just the gimmick of not only having Big Brother contestants, but having it be all in Europe with train rides. Like, it's jet lag the game. Like, it's awesome.
Like jet lag. Now we're talking.
Right? There's a reality show we could all learn from. Yes. But no, seriously, like just switching it up, even if it doesn't work, even if you have, a have or have nots twist or whatever else, like it's worth it. Like at worst, you're going to get, at worst, I guess you'll get Cook Islands just in terms of concept, but at worst you'll get like heroes versus healers versus hustlers, which is like, what is that?
But that's the only thing. Nobody's saying they're just like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't mean the season's going to be bad. It means it's going to have something unique about it. Like the unique concepts of these new era seasons have been the set design, but the set design is all still in Fiji. So it's like, this tribal council has a kick-ass pirate ship. Like, I'm into that. I like that.
Yeah.
Or it's like last season had like onions. Sure, I like an onion. I ate food with onions today. It's true. But that doesn't make up for like, the seasons that I mentioned that I really like, which all seem to have some gimmick to them. Now I don't know how easy it is to fix all that. This is all stuff that is like,
there's a lot of my gripes I think are actually very simple fixes.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll complain. I could complain about. The two things for me, like I look at it down as like, what are the two biggest things that I liked about Australian Survivor compared to here? And there's two big differences. The first one is challenge, just variety and challenges.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a big one. The second thing is, and maybe this one might be a more me thing, but I've also heard this echoed, so it might not just be a me thing. Jeff's tribal council guidance, or maybe it's whoever is producing it has deteriorated a ton.
Yeah.
Like when you watch some of these older seasons, he does what JLP does. Hey, Johnny wasn't really good at the challenge.
Yeah.
Was he? Like, there's too many softballs from Jeff where when I go, like, the first 5 minutes of tribal, I'm rolling my eyes.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, it's a kind of eye wash. Like, they're doing it because they have to do it because they've always done it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, and I think those are just simple fixes. Like, Jeff, go at him a little bit more. Like, that's not like that costs them $0 to fix that. And the challenge variety, like, okay, turn around. What are we getting this? When is Survivor going to like break out something like that doesn't feel like, sure, it might be a new challenge, but you feel like you've seen it before.
Yeah, I love looking at the first challenge in every immunity challenge in every season, and it always finishes on the exact same platform. The same wooden platform they have to go up a big ramp to get to the top of and then solve the puzzle at the top. Like, it's because they have like 4 challenge locations on the CBS island that they do the challenges on.
And it's like they have that, but like, for example, I would say this last immunity challenge was one of the more memorable immunity, like tribal immunities we've had in a while.
Yeah,
because it's a puzzle, kind of. Yeah. But it's also not like a puzzle. The puzzle is how do you stack the people to get there, and not I'm putting the puzzle pieces in the puzzle.
Also, part of it might be 2 tribes. Like there's an added layer of like, a rush to it all, and like knowing that you have to do this first. You can't just like compromise. You have to go all out.
And it's part of it is like I've opened my eyes to the like they don't have a lot of like places to film, but I don't need I don't need these big elaborate 5-phase challenges.
No. I don't think anybody really loves those is the thing. Like
it's like why can't we just do like why can't we do an eating challenge? I know why they don't do the eating challenges anymore. Sure. But like why? But something in that vein of like, and of Jeff, I know Jeff says he hates the one-on-one physical with each other. I don't get it either. But even if that's the case, you can do things like we saw in Australian Survivor, and I think it was Second Chances, where they do the thing with the slip and slide, and they do the thing at the end.
Yeah.
You can do one-on-one challenges for a tribe. Like, it's not impossible to do without contact.
Or, you could do other things. Like, I think about Survivor Palau. It might have even been in Fiji where they have the challenge where you're running around the beach and you have weight on you. And it's like you can transfer that weight or you can drop out. They did a similar thing in Australia versus the world where it's like, we'll have one person carry all this weight who drops out. Like, that's also interesting in terms of getting the dynamic of a tribe.
Yeah.
Like, there are things that can be done.
I think it's a travesty that we've not seen touchy subjects in how long it's been.
That's true. That's a great point.
Like it's
right there.
Like these aren't like I'm not saying to make it like these are quite literally the cheapest challenges you can possibly have.
Yeah.
Like sure, I maybe like sometimes it's cut the rope, but like I'm not asking for a final 5 second chances with like infinite mazes and like different stations I'm not asking for that.
Sure.
I just want some decent to good variety.
Yeah.
And I feel like we just haven't. And like I think it all goes back to Carson. Carson showed the issue because he was able to game the puzzles because Survivor got lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're like kind of mixing it up. Like they like try to do like a new like animal puzzle.
Yeah.
Every time, which is like fine. But like every puzzle, there's always probably multiple season of a puzzle that has the logo that's mostly just the logo.
Yeah.
Boring. Like not only is the fact that like I don't know how much like you're into puzzles and stuff.
Not really.
That's an easy puzzle.
Yeah.
By all account, like maybe like I think I'm good at puzzles, but I don't think I'm that like I think I'm good but not great at puzzles.
But that makes sense. Like it's an oval.
It's an oval, and there's numbers and letters that have to face certain orientations and make certain phrases.
Yeah.
Like at the very least with Rizzo and this map puzzle. Could
it
be this way?
Like.
Could it be this way? You don't necessarily sure you could I guess figure out what the beach looks like, which I think Alex might have done.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's at least more variables there of like you don't know which one is the edge, which one you know very well if it has the numbers 49 in it, it's not an edge. Like just things like that. Or like I know at some point we'll do one of like unscramble a word.
Yeah.
Those are decent change of pace. Like I like doing the one a year on that. Those are always fun, especially like as a viewer when you don't know what the word is.
Sure.
Can you do it before them? I know they give away the word now in like the preview, but like things like that. Let's do something different. That's my plea is I'm at the point now. And like I said, I'm picking at straws because I love the show and I'm always going to watch it.
Yes, of course.
But like, I just want to see them take initiative to take a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Because there are not enough times Survivor since 40, for better or for worse, they at least took a swing with the hourglass. I don't want to see it back. It's already remembered for bad reasons, but I cannot say they didn't try something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Survivor now is scared of them trying something to do something similar to that.
I think that's true. I do think that's true.
I think now, looking back on it, people are like, yeah, that didn't work. It sucks, and he shouldn't have ever done it. But at least there's your thing of what made the season memorable.
Yeah, that's true. 41 is probably the most memorable season of the new era.
For the wrong reasons, but at least it's memorable. Like,
yeah,
the all press is good press.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like the season being bad, like people talk. I would have to say that more people talk about season 41 than any other new era season.
That's probably true. Yeah.
And sure, it's for bad things, but they're talking about Survivor. So
how bad is that? 43,
really?
Also for bad reasons a lot of the time, depending on who you ask.
I love Gable. Stop.
I'm not saying that. I'm just
there's this gripe that 43 is somehow bad because Gabler won.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. Please.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cassidy. I love Cassidy. Like you can love these people and still be like, wow, Survivor at its peak. You should not know who's going to win going into the last episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like that's when it's at its peak. And I think what people don't like is the person they think is going to win doesn't win.
Yeah, because it means they're wrong.
And it's not like, it's like, if you're going to argue bigotry, what are they bitter about with those final three? Like, are you serious? Like, they liked his story because it fit that cast and it sucks.
Yeah.
But there's a million lucky things that get you there anyways.
Yeah, that's the game.
And I think that's why it's one of my most memorable seasons. Like, sure, I don't think he's a great winner. And by all accounts, he's probably one of the worst winners of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's memorable. Bob Crowley, the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't a good winner, like, from a gameplay. Fabio. But, like, they're all iconic winners. Yeah. Because of the, like, not who you expected winners.
Yeah.
And for the health of the show, you need those every once in a while.
I agree.
So I hate this Rob got. Like I said, I love Cassidy. I thought she was great on the challenge.
Yeah, I was about to say great on the challenge.
I think that really like elevated her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I loved her in Survivor. I loved her even more after the challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my plea and why. I think 40. I think by all accounts, 47 is the best season of the new era. Like
it's up
in my opinion,
sure.
It's for me. I think the three that I would argue are 47, 45, and 43.
Yeah.
Most people won't argue 43, and I get that.
Yeah, for me, it's 45, 46, 47. I think it's one of those. But I'm more iffy on 46 than other people. So for me, it's 45 pretty easily, honestly. But 47 is also good.
Like I said, it might just be because 47 was, closer to me.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about 45, like I just remember how high it was on 45 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the best new era. And it wasn't even close at the time.
Well, yeah.
Like in my mind, it was head and shoulders above.
Yeah.
And I thought it aged well. I think it's going to age even better with time.
I agree with that.
Not only because of D and 50 and challenge and that stuff, but like Drew won on a little side quest and won a lot of money. Like there's all these like, it's such a fun like cast, like the Bruce Couture, like now that you got me into the 45 talk, I just remember how engaged I was.
Yeah. So for context, because I have my cool Survivor list on my phone.
Oh, good.
I have 45 as the 13th best season. Between South Pacific and Karamoan, which is my hot take, is I love Survivor Karamoan. And then I have 47 as the 18th best season between Samoa and Worlds Apart. And then I have 46 at 22 between Edge of Extinction and Game Changers. Both of those are kind of hot takes in their own way. But so that's to say that like 45 is 13th, which is good, but it's like that's throughout almost 10 seasons of the new era, and it's like that is the highest that we've gotten, for better or for worse.
Where's Fiji on that list? Original Fiji.
That's
my hot take favorite season. I adore that season.
Yeah, it's
most people don't like it though, so I'm not shocked.
This actually kind of falls in line with you. Is I have it 31, which is basically right next to 43, which is 33rd. But I haven't seen Fiji since I originally saw it, which was like 2021. So I have to rewatch it, as I have to rewatch every Survivor season because it's a great show.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's we're talking about Survivor Fiji in 2025, but that season, the pre-merge is kind of whatever.
Yeah.
You get some fun characters, but not for the Anthony stuff is icky. Like Rocky is Rocky is aged probably one of the worst aging Survivor players of all time.
Yeah.
Like with hindsight and how he acts.
Sure.
Like it's very of the time. But
it's an interesting philosophical season too.
It's a philosophical season, and I am Dreams needs to come back on my TV. I need to see that man one more play Survivor or any show.
Yeah.
Just one more time.
Yeah.
Because I think this is if one person is listening to this, I want them to be as God may be my witness as well. On the little questionnaires of Survivor, what's your hot take?
Yeah.
My hot take now is that if that season aired today, Yao Man would be a villain in Survivor and Dreams would be a hero.
Wow. That is something I've never heard before. That's wow. That's really interesting. I mean, we have that episode going on right behind.
I know.
Us. Right now, what is happening?
And that's why I'm thinking about it. And I'll give you a brief synopsis of this.
Sure.
Back then, Dreams was hated on because he went back on his word.
Yeah.
Not to get too political, but in societal norms, I think a lot of that is racism on Dreams of people of just perception of minorities in TV at the time.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I believe that. And I believe if this were to happen today, I believe people would look in society and online rhetoric and online discussions and say, Yao Man is weaponizing Dream's homelessness against him.
Yeah. Yeah.
To will his way, to strong arm his way through it. And Dream stood up for himself and said no. And that I am going to do that. I am not going to let you take my dignity of me being homeless and to take my car and to fuck out of here. Sorry if I can't curse.
No, you're fine.
But that's basically what Yao Man is doing. I think it's smart of Yao Man to do, which I appreciate. But I think if this were to happen today, people would lose their shit.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I never thought about that.
This has been my Survivor Roman Empire forever. This take.
Yeah.
But like, I haven't had any, like, I don't have people, who am I going to talk this mindset of? But like,
that's what this podcast is for.
But I fully believe that you cannot convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
And part of what makes it even worse is Dreams isn't like I dove down the rabbit hole like social media just to kind of see what his presence is.
Yeah.
And I remember a couple years ago, he said he still gets shit for it.
That's too bad.
Of like, he said it in a way like I've moved on, like I don't worry about it anymore.
Sure.
But I say that in the sense of like people still see that as a negative on him. And it's been 20 something years. And if that were to happen today, I think people would still like Yao Man, but there would be a lot more sympathy for what Dreams has to go through at this moment, because he also knows what's coming. Because I mean, if you weren't honest on reality TV back then, I mean, look at Jerry Matthews, supposed villain. Are you serious?
In All Stars, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
like the things that she's considered a villain for, like that's just that era of TV.
You want to know, when you were talking about like what it would be like if this came out today, the parallels are there. Like I was thinking about Survivor 43, and it's like, yeah, to me, it's like it would be perceived similarly to how Cody and Jesse's relationship is, where it's like they have this tight duo, and it's like there's not any weaponization of anything Jesse goes on there, so it's a little different. But at the end of the day, it comes down to two people who were forced to work together in their own ways, who have agreed on something, in Cody and Jesse's case, going to the end together. And it's like, the game has other plans, and it is worse off for me to do this. And so I'm going to have to cut you off. And it's like, I'm sorry about that.
And he's applauded, and Jesse was applauded for, and I know people he was applauded.
Jesse was applauded for it, but also at the same time, it's like, he didn't have to do that. No. He didn't have to do that. And in some sense, it was a villainous move, because he still probably would have beaten Cody at the end if they had sat there together.
Yeah.
And so, but people don't treat Jesse like a villain. They treat him like a hero. So I think there were similarities.
And I think and he was treated like he was, and I think this is a lot of it is just how they're edited.
Sure.
Throughout the whole time, I mean, it's obvious. Jesse was edited that way to be the hero, with his whole backstory of, tough childhood, ended up doing some bad things, served time.
And I do think he's a heroic personality. 100%. I do think so. I just think like you can interpret the move that he made against Cody as being villainous. Yeah,
and I think I'm on the point of like, part of it is like, you're telling me if this didn't happen today, you're telling me Survivor wouldn't eat up that somebody's like, I'm homeless. I don't. Everybody would be rooting for that person. Are you kidding me?
It's so easy to look at the current Survivor community and be like, this is awful and it's bad, because it is. But like at the same time, it is so much more nuanced in how we approach most contestants than it used to be. Yeah. Like it's not just active hate on Jerry Manthe for showing attraction towards a guy and having a brain, or whatever else.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, it's nuance, and the people that are disliked and get flack on social media are the people who are annoying, like Rome or whoever else, or, I don't know, people who make really stupid moves will get flack, but like that's how it's always been. But there's a lot more nuance now. Like I think about Hannah Rose in Survivor 45, one of the ultimate example of getting absolute hate.
I cannot tell you how angry I was watching that episode.
Yeah, it's like that. That is something that made people extremely mad, and it's like Hannah Rose. What a blight on Survivor. How dare she quit on the first episode? Like these aren't my words, but that's the sentiment. Fast forward a year, Hannah Rose is beloved. She is. People have done a 180 and are like, that's Hannah Rose. We stand Hannah Rose. And it's like, could you imagine that happening to like Jerry 1 year after she quit the stage on All Stars or something like that? It's insane. It's just insane. But there you go. All right. Do you have any other thoughts on anything before we wrap this up?
I could probably talk forever on random Survivor stuff. I'm happy I got that off my chest. I think that's a great place for me to end it. I think that summarizes this. If you somehow listen to 2 hours of me and Joey talking, I think that was a great. I think that take right there epitomizes my Survivor hot take, and it kind of just epitomizes that I can still talk about a season that's as. It's one of those where, like, sorry, my last thing.
Go ahead. This is why I asked.
Guatemala is always known as the season that's forgotten.
Sure.
But it's so forgotten that it's not forgotten.
Yeah, exactly. That's the type.
Everybody talks about Guatemala like, oh, it's such a forgotten season.
Nicaragua's the same way, where it's like everyone forgets about the season, but they always talk about Nyanka, so not really.
Yeah, you want a forgotten season? Survivor Fiji's a forgotten season. Because who's bringing that up as a forgotten season? Nobody.
I think the forgotten season to me is Survivor Karamoan, which is funny because
that's another one too.
It's a returnee season, but it's like, does anybody say anything about Karamoan besides Brandon quitting or Don's teeth?
It's the if I had to like pick a few forgotten seasons, Karamoan would be one.
Vanuatu is kind of is another one that people say is a forgotten season, but I think it actually is kind of. So
I think it is forgotten. I kind of want to say Thailand, but like it kind of isn't. Like it's since it's an early season, like it kind of is, kind of
it has
isn't.
All those
but
eyes on it, yeah.
But like I also think part of it is the fact is people like have this stereotype on Brian, like I don't want to watch it. And people are like, "Oh, that's the not good one."
Brian is not the reason the season is bad. Like is he likable? No, but that's not the point.
No.
He's meant to be disliked, and you do dislike him. And yeah, that doesn't make the season good. But like the worst thing about the season is Ted being there. And Clay being there. Like that's the reason why the season's bad, but also psychologically interesting. So yeah, a lot of. I mean, there's 49 seasons. There's bound to be a few that slip through the cracks.
I also think Worlds Apart is a forgotten season.
I agree, and I really like that season. So,
all right, that's all I got.
Yeah, look, I mean, here's the thing, and I'll say this to you, the audience, if you're watching, like during the off season of Survivor, if there are no other interesting reality shows going on, I want to do podcasts that are just this, just talking about something random in Survivor history and like the end of Survivor Fiji. And so I'm glad that we get to go on these tangents because I have people who know the game well. That's why I don't just like do this by myself because that's not fun. It's fun to get.
That'd be brutal to talk to yourself for an hour and a half.
Well, hey, I can do it. But no, it seriously is fun to have conversations like this. And if you and in the audience have any suggestions for any obscure random Survivor discussions you'd like me and somebody else to have, throw them out to me. I'll do them. I will do them because I can talk about basically anything in Survivor history for eons if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And so throw them out there to me. That's your call to action for this episode, you and the audience.
Last thing, I just thought of like the only other time for going back to the challenge throwing.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I can remember a time that was as good as this was Survivor China.
Yeah.
And they did it, and it happened. So when we were saying that, I just randomly had that thought of like, that's the one.
That's the other one. Yeah, that's the one. All right. And with that, thank you so much for listening to this episode of See Any Good Moves Lately. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. And bye-bye.
Bye.